Hi, and welcome to your Inside Power. My name is Patricia. Our question today is, why is it that some people just seem to float through life while others, it just seems to be a constant struggle? And it doesn't need to be a struggle. That's the point. We should all be able to float through life. The problem is that we don't quite understand what it is that we're doing. So whenever we think of this quote comes to mind: whatever a man soweth, that he shall reap. So we are in charge of giving out those ideas, and we are in charge of what's happening in our lives. Nobody else is. It's us. And when we have this sense that your own identity either continues building the image of that struggle, or it continues to build the image of just floating and going through things, that's where the confidence comes in. People that tend to have things good happen to them, that seem to be like those people that just kind of float through life and everything good just keeps happening to them, they have a sense of confidence. It doesn't mean everything goes their way, because it doesn't. What happens, though, is they have this inner feeling or gift that even when things don't go their way, it will work out. And when you can develop that within yourself, that even though roadblocks get in your way or something's not turning out the way you want it to, that there must be a reason, then you can start to develop that confidence and start floating through life too. But what we have to do is to develop the image of the person we want to be. Do we want to be that person that struggles? Do we want to be that person that finds everything difficult and hard and money's difficult to earn? Or do you want to be that person who feels like everything's easy and that they can do whatever task is put in front of them? I remember a number of years ago, there was a health issue in my family, and it was quite stressful. And a friend of mine gave me this pillow. In fact, I'm looking at it right now. It says, "I know that God won't give me any more than I can handle." And then it says, "I just wish he didn't trust me so much." And that's the way you have to look at it. Whatever we're given, we have the capability of handling. And if we go through life believing that, it makes it a whole lot easier. And then you start to realize, hey, I've done something like this before. I can do it again because I handled it well the last time. So it all comes down to the image we hold of ourselves, to the confidence we have in ourselves. And the more confidence you have in yourself, the more you can step out and take risk and do things. So money comes to us in the exact ratio and proportion for the need for what we do and for how well we do it. That's just the law of compensation. We've been talking about those laws. I've mentioned that one before. So what you can control is how well you do something. And that is all within your control. So when you set out to gain greater wealth, sometimes we have to go the extra mile. Sometimes we have to step out there and do a little more. And when we do, we will get compensated. Now, it might not be from that particular job or that particular person, client, or whatever that you're working with, that you will gain that monetary equivalent, but it will come. And it might not come today. It might not come for a year, but it will come to you. And that's what you have to keep believing. So when we create the image in our mind, which we've talked about before, we become difficult to replace. So we become that person that is so valued and so necessary, we become difficult to replace. And the key to our dreams is the belief that you can have it. It's a sense that the possibility is not hard, that it can be done. And so we have to have that in our wheelhouse of knowledge. So develop the image, and the world will respond to what you're resonating as your desires. So you have to decide what it is you want. And I guarantee you're going to get it as long as you keep believing and you put some action behind it, because your mind is connected with all other minds, and you will figure out a way to make that happen. You know, it's funny. I was working with a client, and I was asking this client because she does healing, energetic healing. And I said, when you do those healings, are you with that person, like on Zoom, like you and I are together here, or are you just thinking of them? And she said, no, we do it energetically. And so that person can be sleeping and I have their name and I connect with them energetically. You see, if people can connect energetically like that for healings, certainly the universe can connect you with what you need. And I guarantee you it does. You just have to have the belief, and you have to allow your mind to accept that idea. So there's always a cause and effect, and we get back what we put out. And sometimes that's hard for us to understand, that we get back what we put out, but we have to put that idea out there. We have to put the action out there, and cause and effect, just like you learned in the science class. For every cause, there is an effect. Same way with your desire. For every desire that you put out there, you know, you will cause and have that effect to get it back. So sometimes it's hard to connect with that idea that we do not need to suffer, we do not need to struggle, because that's what we've been brought up with, a lot of us. And so we have to get rid of that idea and get rid of that possibility. And when you do that, you're going to receive what it is that you want. It all starts with your thinking. It all starts with what's in your mind. So one of the things one of my mentors said is, you were born rich. All of us were born rich. Now, it doesn't mean wealth as far as money, but we were born rich with the capacity to acquire what it is that we want. And so we all have that ability within inside of, because we're all the same in that respect. What makes us different is how we use those ideas and use our mind in order to help us to acquire what it is that we want. So you do more, you will get paid more when you get the extra mile. And this is what so many people miss. It's like if you're building a fire, you don't say, I'll put wood on a fire when it starts giving me a flame. No, you build the flame first and then you add the wood. And that's what you have to keep in mind when you're working towards earning more money or getting better health or building better relationships, is you first have to do something. You can't just wait for it to happen. And sometimes that's what people think, that as long as they think it in their mind, then it's going to happen. No, you have to put some action behind it. You have to do something. And so thinking's not enough. The thinking's the starting point, but then when you get an idea, you have to work on that. And you see, even as you think, like when we were talking about relationships, when you're thinking about the kind of relationship you want, or the ideal partner that you want, or something like that, when you start to think about that, you start to change yourself, because you can't change anybody else. You can only change yourself. And as you're thinking, you start to change yourself. And then when that relationship comes, it's like perfect. So it all starts with your thinking, but it also goes with the action and going the extra mile, doing more than you're being paid for, doing more than you're expected. And again, you may not get that raise with the company you're with, but you will get that raise because somebody else is going to see you. And you start thinking about, here's the job that I want. I don't want the job I have now. I want, to elevate to the next level. And you keep thinking about that, and you keep doing the job at that next level, and you will find yourself at that position. So we attract, or we draw into ourselves, the exact reward that we want. And this is why we have to be really careful, because if you're thinking one thing consciously, but subconsciously, you're thinking, no, you can't do it. The subconscious is in control. Subconscious always controls the body. So we have to allow ourselves the ability to go after what we really want instead of what maybe somebody else thinks we should want or what our subconscious thinks we should want. So keep in mind, nothing is ever created or destroyed. It's already here. The good that you want is already here. And, if it's something material that you want, it's already here. You have a goal to acquire something, it's already here. All you have to do is figure out how to get it. If it's not something material, again, that idea is already here. You just have to figure out how to pull it together. So nothing's created, nothing's destroyed. When you become too large for where you are now, you will automatically draw something bigger into your life. So as I said, perhaps you want to be a manager. You're a worker bee, now you want to be the manager. And you start doing the things that a manager would do. You start thinking of yourself as manager. In your mind, you are the manager. You just don't have the title or the good that comes with being a manager, but you believe that you are the manager. So you're thinking of that. You're becoming bigger. And when you do that, you're doing things that the manager would do. And pretty soon you will find yourself as a manager or a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. Maybe you want to be an entrepreneur. You have to start seeing yourself as an entrepreneur. And as you start seeing yourself becoming more successful and more successful, things will start to happen. Things will come into your life because you have become bigger than where you are now. And as you become bigger, then you draw to yourself those other things. So that's super important to understand that you have to change first until the change comes into your life in reality. You have to be that person first. So if you haven't gotten to that point, it's because you haven't been able to attract to you what you want, because somehow there's a belief inside of you that it can't happen. And so it's really hard for us to understand, because we consciously, this is what I want. The problem with consciously knowing what you want is your subconscious also in harmony with that idea? Or is there conflict? You see, when we get afraid to do something, it's because our conscious mind wants something and our subconscious mind says no. And so there's that conflict inside of us. And conflict causes the fear. So what you have to do is to overcome the fear and to become conscious of what it is that you want. So you have, we can use these laws, the law of compensation, the law of vibration, the law of attraction, all these things, to lift ourselves up to where we want to be and to acquire the kind of life that we actually know we can have. And the key to success is in making those mental adjustments. Most of us have no trouble consciously. It's the subconscious that we have trouble with. And because those paradigms or those habitual thought patterns are so strong, they are in control. You think your conscious mind's in control. It is not. It is the subconscious mind that's in control. And until you learn how to shift your subconscious, you remain stuck. So if your thoughts are constructive and you keep impressing them upon your subconscious, you cannot remain where you are. And we call that remain in your own prison of life. You can't remain there, because once you shift and make those mental adjustments, your life will change. And a lot of that comes with the belief. You have to believe and have that confidence that it's going to happen. You can't say, one day you believe it's going to happen, and then the next you're doubting it, and you worry, and you start making plans for when it doesn't work. Can't do that. You've got to keep focused on the goal that you want and move towards it. Create and build the image that you are the person who deserves to have that goal. And that's the other thing. Sometimes we don't think we deserve it. Why is that? Well, for maybe years, we've been told that we don't deserve things, that we're not good enough, that, we can't have it, we don't have the ability, whatever, has been filled in your mind, that garbage that's there. You have to overcome that. And you have to start seeing yourself as deserving it, seeing yourself as having the good that you want. If it's a new car, see yourself as driving that car. Go try the car. Go take a spin in the car that you want. And then keep picturing in your mind that you're in that car, that you have that car, that it's yours until it actually becomes yours. And as I know I've said before, sometimes when you have a car in mind, all of a sudden you're driving down the road and that's all you see. Like, there it is. There it is. That's, oh, don't want that color. There it is. There it is. And before you maybe never saw them at all, because you're being focused and you're being intentional on looking for that car, and you start to see it. So laws do not change. These laws work the same for everybody. The law you cannot change. Only you can change. You can change to work with the laws. And that's what I help a lot of my clients do. I help them to understand the laws, help them to realize that they can work with the laws, and that they need to adjust their own thinking so that their focused attention is on working with the laws. If you want prosperity and success, that's a conscious thought. You want prosperity, success, and you do nothing to change yourself. How can you expect to have that prosperity and success? It just doesn't work that way. So if you want prosperity and success, you need to change you first, and then you can gain that prosperity and success. So that's the way it works. Change your vision, and you will change your conditions, change your thinking, change your actions. It's the only way it's going to change. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. That's not the way it works. You have to change something in order to get the different result. And it first starts with changing your thinking and changing your thought patterns. And once you change your thinking, then you'll start to see the results and see the changes that start to come into your life. You'll start to attract things to you. And sometimes you become scared when that happens. Don't allow that fear to overcome you. Just grab it and run, because you're developing that momentum when you're allowing it to happen. And when you allow that fear or doubt to seep in, then you stop it. So we have to keep pushing forward. So awareness is everything. And realize that everything happens for a reason. Because of these laws, we don't understand how they connect with us and with the results that we get. Because the laws are always working. They're working like in the background, kind of like your computer. Your computer is running things in the background that you don't see, but you know it's there and making it all possible. That's exactly the way these laws are. They're like running in the background of our life. And the universe knows what we do not know. And so it can make these connections that seem ridiculous to us and seem like it's not possible or doesn't work, but it is working because it's making those connections in the background to us. So when something seems wrong, keep in mind, something good is going to come out of it. And there's a reason. There's always a reason. And, I look at this so many times, and, my one daughter, she's a doctor, and when she got her residency, she wanted to go on into a fellowship and a specialty, and she didn't get selected that year. And so then she got a job for a year, and, I think there's a reason. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason. So the next year she applied again for a fellowship, and this time she got the fellowship. And here's the thing. The second year, her opportunities of fellowship were so superior to the first year. And you know what? It was good. It was a good thing she didn't get that fellowship the first year, because the second year, all the places were just superior, and they were better programs, and they were in better locations. And it worked out for a reason. There was a reason she didn't get selected. It was painful and it was hurtful to her, especially when one of her colleagues got a position and she didn't. And it was almost infuriating and embarrassing. But in the end, it was the best thing for her. So you have to keep that in mind. There's a reason for everything, and we don't always understand the reason, but the universe does. And if we just keep going and accepting that, the good that we want will come to us. So expect the good you desire and get on the frequency with it. You see, every idea is on a different frequency, just like your cell phone. You can connect your cell phone to other cell phones because of the frequencies. Well, every idea out there is on a frequency. And when you can connect into that frequency or into the good that you want, then it goes in and locks in. And it's just like your phone connecting to somebody else's phone. You become on the same frequency and you can talk to each other. And that's the way your idea and what it is that you want, when you get on the same frequency, it connects in and locks in. And it's just a matter of when, not if. So the floodgates will start to open up to you and open up to your mind with regularity. You're going to see this happen over and over. Once you start to understand, and you can just do this over and over again. And then it's like Napoleon Hill says, during all those lean years when it was difficult, and then all of a sudden, all this good keeps coming to you. You're like, what happened? You made the shift. You started to understand what it takes to get on that frequency. And once you move onto that frequency, all the good that you want opens up. So we walk by opportunities all the time. Now, sometimes we need to walk right by them because it's not the right thing, or it's going to take us away from our focus. But we do go by opportunities all the time. And when you allow yourself to accept that and accept the opportunities instead of saying no and being, wary of them, that's when things will start to happen. So realize you're hearing my talk. That's an opportunity for you. It's an opportunity because we've connected for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. I've put in my show notes a link to have an extended talk with me. And during this extended talk, it'll be like 45 minutes. We're going to look at where you are, where you want to be, and I'm going to start to look at how your thinking is and what things you need to change, and start to map out a plan of ideas for you so that you can actually accomplish the goal that you want. So often we set a goal and when it doesn't happen, we go, oh, I'll try again. And then we set a goal. And when it doesn't happen, and pretty soon you do that enough, you're like, it doesn't work. Why should I set a goal and never get my goal? Why should I even bother? Well, it's because you don't understand. You don't understand. And then we just think it's the setting of a goal that's the problem. No, the problem is not the goal setting. The problem is our thinking. And when we get our thinking straight, we can accomplish one goal after the other. And I love to watch successful people, because successful people, either consciously or unconsciously, they've figured this out. Either they're aware of it and they've been, instructed, they've been coached, they've been shown, or they're just totally unaware and are an unconscious competent, and they just keep doing the same thing over again, not realizing that they found the secret. And it's amazing to watch the successful people because they're going to accomplish it. You just know because they've done it before, they can do it again. And it's just one thing after another. So we have to crowd out all those inferior thoughts and allow the superior thoughts that we want in our mind. And every time one of those doubts, worries, or fears comes, just get rid of it and go back to thinking of the good that you want. You have to stop thinking about what you don't want and start, you have to start thinking about the good that you do want and allow your mind to just run wild with what it's going to look like. What's it going to feel like? How's it going to be? And when you can do that, it's going to happen. And you just have to believe that. It might not happen for years. You know, my mentor, Bob Proctor, he had had the idea for probably a decade or two of having a whole bunch of consultants like myself all around the world. And that he could just touch so many lives through us to the people. And that was the goal for his, but it didn't happen for years and years. But then all of a sudden it did. And then he had people in, I think we're in like 150 countries. And so it just happened. But he didn't see it for so long. But he kept believing it. And when that happens, it has to happen. The time had to be right. Timing is everything. Just like my son, took him 6 years to reach his goal. Well, had to, because he was in 6th grade and he was getting college scholarships. So it had to take 6 years. 6 years of his life. But he kept thinking about it. He kept believing it. He kept seeing it. He kept feeling it. If he'd have stopped after 6th grade, it wouldn't have happened. I still can't believe it did happen because it shouldn't have happened even with that. But you see, I didn't understand what he was doing. He did. He never doubted it for a minute. Not a minute. He just kept believing. Getting a scholarship. I'm getting a scholarship. And when you can do that, when you can crowd out all those inferior thoughts, it will come. So build the image of the desire that you want. And the universe is like a blank check. It's like a blank check giving you whatever it is that you want. And if you feel lack, do not look around you. Look inside of you. So every time you feel that there's lack, it's not what's around you. It's what's inside 6 inches of your mind. So please think about reaching out. Like I said, I have a connection link there. Just book a call with me and let's talk about how you can accomplish the good that you desire, because everybody can. This isn't reserved for just a few. It's reserved for everybody. And if everybody understood this, what would our world look like? Just imagine how great it could be if everybody understood how to take their goal and transform it into a beautiful image.